What's up, horror fam, and welcome to another HHN 365 Live here on YouTube on our nice Tuesday night schedule. And the whole crew is here. The whole live streaming crew is here, I should say. And we have some good news, Jonathan, don't we?
We do. I'm going to be here the entire stream, and I don't have to leave at 8 or 9, so look at that.
8. You're late, Jonathan.
All right, I got to go.
Out.
Bye, guys.
The gang's back together. Look, we had 2 podcast episodes in a row with all 4 of us,
Mm-hmm.
and now Jonathan's back on a live.
Look at that.
That's how you know we're in an announcement season now. That's a good indicator right there. So, of course, everyone knows that this live stream is going to be heavily about what was announced. It's Five Nights at Freddy's. You all know that already. But there are, of course, questions about the capacity of what this will be at the event because of how it happened, how it was worded. And, of course, we're going to get to that soon here. There is actually quite a bit to talk. I'm looking at a lot of slides lined up in this studio for us to go over. So if you listen to our podcast recently, we're going to cover a lot of the same stuff. But as you know, on these lives, we like to go into just a bit more detail and be able to kind of take your opinions on those. So I'm trying to decide where we start. We can't start with the big one. I think we kind of have to lead into it. Of course, we lead into it with who's with us tonight.
Yeah. Who's here?
First of all, still has the record. Chemo Dog, first comment every time. Thank you for being here. Great to
That's
see you.
consistency right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Well, Mothman. Sorry. Mothman was right behind, actually.
Let's
Mothman, thanks for being here. Albert, you're probably right. We're going to have the weirdest announcement possible based off what we saw first.
Yeah. Albert, you
Please
spelled
no.
Megan wrong. It's me, Thregan.
Mathregan. Megan, catching your first live. Well, thanks for being here.
Me, Thregan.
Welcome.
Hopefully it's worth being here. See,
I know.
That's Megan. The other one's Mathregan.
I know, but it was a really good intro into this Megan.
This is true. True. And that is true. If you didn't know, first of all, we've rebranded. We're holding Horn 365. Also, right after this, our good friends over at the Hotline will be having a live stream at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. So as soon as we finish up here, you should head over there and keep the HHN and Haunt Talk going.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do we think FNAF will be scary? Well, we'll get to that. Trust me. We will get to that.
FNAF will be FNAF.
It will? That much is true.
Yeah. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Woo.
Sheena, glad you could finally make it here at the beginning.
Hello.
Katie, thanks for joining again. Is that pizza? It's a really small emoji.
I think
from
it's
our angle.
pasta.
Pasta. Oh, yeah. That
I
does
think it's a
look
plate of
pasta.
spaghetti.
Yeah, because I
Did you
see
get
the
pasta?
fork. Yeah. So spaghetti tonight? Is that what's happening?
No, I'm in the mood for pasta.
I already have heartburn. That'd be terrible for me.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Brianna, thanks for joining. We have plenty of those as well, and we can't wait to hear everyone else's opinions about our first announcement. House announcement?
Our first announcement.
Our first announcement.
Yep.
Let's see. That Mario person, thanks for joining again. He gonna be here, that's for sure. Definitely gonna be at HHN this year.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to give away too much, but I think we're all pretty convinced it's going to be a maze/house. If there's other things involved, we'll go over that soon. The Goblin is here. It's true.
It's very true.
Oh no!
Returned.
Hydra, come on. No.
Hydra.
Now that's a
expect
Horror
better.
Nights house.
I expect
That is
better
Horror
from
Nights
Hydra.
house.
No. I'm shaming. Public shaming Hydra.
Good evening, Jordan. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi.
Jess, Slay.
Thank you. My preschoolers had graduation today, so I just figured keep it going. Got to graduate the babies today.
There you go. That's
great.
adorable.
It was really cute. I cried. Oof. Yeah, I love them. It's okay.
Speaking of Jess, hey Jess, how's it
Hey,
going?
Jess.
Hello.
What's up, DC Thrills? Thanks for coming back, joining us again. 8-bit slasher, yeah, I that's kind of the point of this episode, I guess. At the end of the day,
We're spicy tonight.
yeah, I know. Usually we're spicy. It's the chat who's
I know.
spicy right
I feel
now.
like I'm being too nice now. I mean, I did just publicly shame Hydra.
That is true.
We haven't talked about Murdy yet, so
We haven't.
We will
I'm
get.
just gonna sit here.
Yeah, glad to see you're back on our schedule.
Welcome.
And we are. Everyone's on the schedule now. Look at this. This is great. This is great.
Consistency makes things easier, but we're not consistent.
The Howling Hour, thanks for joining us.
What's
Appreciate you
up?
being here.
Hello.
How's it going? And there's the Huntline, who you're going to want to subscribe to this and check out their probably immediately after. We might go long tonight. We'll see. But 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific live stream. Go check that out. Josiah, glad you could be here for the first time.
Welcome.
Is that 4 fires? I'm seeing.
Just need one more.
We're missing one.
Fired up, but not too much. Not quite.
That's really good branding on his part, because when I see fires, I'm like, how many? I gotta count
How many fires you got in there? What's up, Wade? I knew you'd be here. I can always count on you.
I wasn't sure. He didn't pull the laptop out when I came in. So I was like, I don't blame you. You live with me. You hear these opinions.
John, we should.
Ooh.
The problem is right now, the only jokes I can think of have to do with holding horn
horn.
night. So, give me like a week and then I'll workshop things when that's not fully on my mind.
It's like, could they be like, never mind, the holding horn line. Not good. The horn line.
Moving on.
Right.
Maximiliano, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Dina.
Mike Daniels, thanks for being here. And happy Pride as well.
Woo!
Absolutely.
Hi, gay. Happy Pride.
Fandoms lady, well, thanks for being here, first of all. I don't know who that is. I don't remember. Oh, at Louise. I thought that said Louise. But it means Louise. Got it. Yep. Sorry.
I was confused on what you were confused about.
Couldn't comprehend.
My ADHD read that as correct. It was Louise.
HHN Scott, thanks for being here again.
What's up?
Bethany, first time. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Happy to have you.
Holden Horn fam. That's right. That's right, Stanley. Sure are. Hey, Troy, thanks for joining us. Oh, no. 365 fires.
So we can come up with something for us in 5 fires, but we can't come up with something with us in the hotline. And we have so many H's in our name.
Oh, no. Spooky Bits, thanks for joining. Reuben fries again? Oh, man.
And Jonathan's here. It's like almost like you summoned him with the Reuben.
You did. That's what happened.
Not 2 times in a row. You can't miss 2 Reuben fries in a row.
Silly little story about Reuben fries real fast. I was cleaning out my camera roll and I could not bring myself to delete pictures of Reuben fries.
You can't. They're important.
I was like, oh, I almost sent it to the chat.
You had like blurry pictures. Like, nope, I don't care. They're staying.
Didn't matter. I had to keep them. Oh no. I'm sorry. I just saw a message come in and it really ruined my night.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Jake, thanks for joining, being a new fan. Hopefully the live will entertain you as well.
Or you'll run away because of holding horn.
True.
I don't. Well, it'll come up. It'll come up.
Yeah.
Oh God. Holding Huntline's horn.
I don't think anything's ever silenced us.
I mean, horn line 365. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
it's better.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't want to hate that. That's the where I was like, now why would you talk about that? We didn't even bring it up yet.
Yeah, we'll have more to say next week.
It's like a little premature there, Dustin.
We have no content coming out until next week, so there's gonna be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, we'll worry about it later.
I'm not even thinking about it right now.
I'm thinking about it right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll think about it tomorrow.
That's right, Zach.
Woo.
We see red and all the stuff, all those lines we use for playoffs and stuff.
The 6 fans.
All 6 fans.
2 of them are right here.
All right, cool. So I guess that's pretty much everyone covered for now. And if I missed you by any chance, you'll have your chance. We'll talk to you later. Where should we kick it off? I think we should start with the smallest piece of news, but it is interesting nonetheless, especially since it's something that is somewhat rumored, and specifically on Horror Night Nightmares Spec Map, and that's that Regal Cinemas is partnering with Halloween Horror Nights. So basically, if you buy tickets to Mithrigan 2.0,
Thank you.
and you are a Regal Crown Club member, you will basically be entered for a chance to win a trip to Halloween Horror Nights. And it could be either coast, so that's cool. But this definitely shows that we know there'd be a partnership of some sort, but there's some sort of focus on Megan. That doesn't necessarily mean it's Megan coming to the event. Maybe it's just because this is the film that's coming out at the most convenient time for Blumhouse. Actually, I think it's probably the only film coming out around this time for Blumhouse, probably.
I think so.
That would work for like a sweepstakes, so that's probably what it is. But do you think it could mean anything specifically for Megan at the event?
I think that this only makes my possibly see her in the dead coconut thing make a little more sense to me in my head at least.
Yeah.
Because that's where they can control the dance show, and they could even put her up on the little stage. I just think it makes sense for like ops wise, because she caused a bottleneck wherever she went,
to say the least.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Maybe dead coconut, maybe something small in the event, just like a random pop up. Probably not as elaborate as they did before. I wouldn't think so. But I don't think it's anything like super big, like a scare zone that was rumored on the Horror Night Nightmares map or anything like that. And honestly, like you were saying, Duff, this is the film that makes the most sense to tie with Halloween Horror Nights because of just the timing. It's before the event happens. It's probably Blumhouse's biggest movie until FNAF 2 comes out. So I think it kind of just makes sense to promote because they're having a Blumhouse property at the event. So that we're going to be talking about today. So it just, it kind of makes sense just to have a sweepstakes for, the biggest Blumhouse movie until Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is too. I would not be surprised if we see a presence of Megan in some way at the event. But I don't also think there's going to be a focus on Megan. Like there's not going to be a Megan scare zone or anything like that.
Yeah.
No.
We've been wrong before. We'll see.
Yeah, this is just a feeling, I guess. I don't know. How do you feel about the red suit? Because the trailer's out now too.
I think I watched it.
Yeah,
it's earlier. It's
fine.
Interesting. She was in the WeHo Pride Parade though, so she is a queer icon confirmed. Is he?
I will support you, Mithrigan. I just don't necessarily want you to have a scare zone. That's all.
That's what put her in dead coconut. For me,
I'll take it. Probably second floor dead coconut.
Yeah, and like a little pop up.
I'll take it.
I'm feeling like Mike Wazowski down here with the chat over me. It's really funny. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, maybe I'll work on a different layout.
No, it's okay.
After this, we'll see. Not right now.
There hasn't been three of us in a while. I'm like, ooh.
I'm not used to it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I'm down here. You can see me.
Well, I think we have a winner for the Hauntline 365 combo because it came in the form of a super chat, so it has to be the winner. The Howling Hour, the 365 line.
That's perfect, actually.
To the point. Everyone understands it. There's no holding horn involved. It's great. It's lovely.
That's our thing, holding horn. We won't put that on.
Yeah. We will not bring that over to the Hauntline. You don't want that.
No, they are respectable over there.
Yeah.
We're the trash cousins from the East.
That's true. Just like real life.
Yeah, we know who we are.
Oh yeah, and in Hollywood, if you just go back, do a show in the theater, sure, why not?
Absolutely.
I'd much rather have Blumhouse presence be there instead of a Terror Tram.
Yeah.
So that'd be my hope if Blumhouse is at the event. Besides FNAF, like if because on the Horror Night Nightmares map, it was rumored there would be a Blum Tram again. I hope it's just something like this instead, where it's just shoved in the DreamWorks theater, and they just do something with that again.
Yeah,
I'd be down for that. Seatown, I mean, could they just keep that meet and greet going that they're gonna have in the summer? Yeah. Honestly, probably the most likely option, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
it's already gonna be there. Why would you stop it going into Halloween? I know it's not really horror like the original was, but it's still Blumhouse, still horror-esque adjacent.
Yeah. They could do something like the Peacock Bar, where they had meet and greets and stuff, and do like a Blumhouse bar, like maybe in the similar area or something, and have Megan just meeting and greeting. That would make sense.
Yeah.
They get people to drink and go over there, because people want to see Megan. It'd probably cause, a lot of people to go to that area that wouldn't have before. So it would make sense.
Yeah. Alien Spider, thanks for joining. We have not got to that yet. We will definitely get there, and we will talk about that because that's going to be one of our main points of the evening for sure. Coaster King, thanks for joining. I don't know what that is. Jonathan, do you know what that is?
I think that's just the main Five Nights at Freddy's song everyone
Okay.
plays. But no, and I won't, so don't worry about that.
Oh, we're not getting a live performance tonight?
No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not.
Well,
I'm
know,
leaving.
you can't leave at 9 then. See you later.
Yeah, actually get out now. Take him out.
All right. Bye, guys.
Get me out from down here.
No.
Put me back up there. I don't like it down here enough.
Let's see. Oh, that's much more complimentary.
Okay.
The East Coast rap to his West Coast rap. Okay.
I'll take it.
If it's the 90s, you win big, to be honest.
Yeah.
Since then, we've dominated. All right, so let's move on from the Megan talk and kind of start shifting gears into where we're really going to focus tonight. And that's that. Actually, the day after our last live stream, HHN decided to put up a teaser, a very familiar teaser, and that is Static.
Oh, God.
So this was a 20-ish second video of Static. If you've been following speculation season and announcement season for HHN for just honestly a few years, you understand this is something that kind of common to get now at this point. Typically, there's something hidden in it, and it means absolutely nothing towards announcements or the event itself. And it would seem it's probably the case again here, as the only thing you can find within this video, as you can see on screen, is Live the Horror appearing in the Static. Yeah, at least it's not Never Go Alone, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I fully thought when I saw like there was things that kind of look like words in there, I was like, it's gonna fucking say Never Go Alone, isn't it? But it didn't. So pleasant surprise there. They switched it up.
It's true. We were talking about this, and I think we all sort of came to the conclusion that this is just something that to remind people that Halloween Horror Nights exists, because they've sort of been neglecting it for a while because of Epic Universe, which makes sense. But we were also discussing and how everyone was like, oh, could this mean FNAF? Could this mean WWE White 6? Could this mean Fallout? And it's like, yeah, Static technically for most of the rumored IPs like fits pretty well. So everyone was just guessing this IP, this IP, this IP, and it was getting so much engagement. So as much as I don't love the Static because it's nothing, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because it's just a marketing thing that's not even marketing. It's just like social media marketing. And everyone was quote tweeting this, coming up with different theories, and it created just a ton of engagement.
Yep. That's all it is. That's all any of what they've been doing in the last couple weeks, I guess, because they got a little more active right before Epic opened.
Oh, yeah.
It's just been engagement bait, which is what they normally do until there's an announcement.
And it works.
Yeah.
So guess what? They're not going to stop.
No, not at all. And it does fit in with all the IPs, so it's just convenient. But they do this all the time. There was a 12-hour video. You guys not remember that?
That was ridiculous.
People just waiting up for 12 hours, just watching Static. Oh, I saw Jack's head in there. Did you? Or did you go crazy after a couple hours?
I believe I was out of the country at that time, so I did not have the displeasure of experiencing that. So I just was following up with like probably talking with you guys and like seeing tweets and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, nothing came out of it. Shocker. Who would have guessed?
Just angry people who wasted their time.
Pretty much. But with this, we did obviously expect Horror Nights to start really ramping up their teasers until the rumored announcement that's coming Thursday. At this point, this Thursday. So we expected probably like, one this week and then like one the day before. Well, I believe the very next day they moved over to Instagram and posted this, just a still image of Static. What looks like there's supposed to be some sort of obvious figure you're supposed to notice in the background. I don't think it's actually anything. No one's actually like been able to figure out what it is, so it's probably, again, nothing important.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a bird to me.
I kind of see like a knight,
A knight.
like in an armor. Yeah.
Some people were
Okay.
saying like Art the Clown's eye, or something like that. There was a
Oh.
lot of guesses on this. If you stare at it long enough, you can kind of see anything.
Yeah.
Put your
That is
mind to
true.
it.
Look, it's Goblethin.
Oh,
That's what it is.
no! You spoiled my house, Duff. How dare you?
man.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't do it. They did.
Oh, it's true.
Are you actually the fifth zone, Jonathan?
I'm the fifth zone. Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm excited then.
But yeah, so this was just the day after, so almost a week ago at this point. And obviously, again, leading up to what we expected to be the first announcement on June 5th, coming in a couple days. That was not to be the case. But before we get to what was the case, let's go to a few comments first. I do want to address a couple because we had multiple merch questions. Any updates on Goblethin merch and any exclusive 365 shirts for haunt season? For the exclusive 365 shirts, there's a solid chance we typically do.
Yeah.
For Goblethin merch, I don't know, Goblethin, what's up?
Well, it's you got to find the right idea, the right time.
He says this every time we ask him.
I'm not
Every
against it.
single time. It's a politician answer, Jonathan.
I'm not against the idea. Like, if as long as it's drawn, I don't care. Like that's it. Like,
Oh,
as
I
long
was
as
just
it's
gonna
not...
take a picture of your face and like draw on it with like Microsoft Paint.
See that? No, see, I'm not okay with that. But
Wow.
but
Too bad we already printed them.
fuck.
But
All right.
money.
It's true. I do like
Money.
money.
Really?
Money is important.
Okay, are we peer pressuring him?
A little bit.
Whatever.
A little bit.
What else is new?
And then also, apparently, you were wrong, Jonathan. It's a fan-made song.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I think they put it in the movie.
It's in the
end.
credits.
used in
That's
the
what this comment says.
credits.
Thanks, Argo.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. Jack Black sings it. That's like the meme. He sings like the song, and he's wearing like the Freddy Fazbear shirt.
Oh.
Great.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't sing the song, but he does. There's like a famous like
You're
TikTok of him
confusing me.
just singing the song. Yeah.
All right. Now some comments actually about this stuff. This is just as cryptic as Otis. At least Otis was like something and used in marketing throughout the event, whereas it very much seems like this is not going to have anything at all.
No.
I miss Otis.
Oh, Otis, come back
It's
to
the
us.
best thing.
Oh.
Love that. Like, that definitely wasn't the name they wanted to give it, but then it just was funny, and they just kept it, and now it's canon that the name of that thing was Otis.
Otis.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah, there was a drink at the event called Otis's Eye. Like, it made it to the event, which is crazy.
Just from one little tweet. That's all it took.
Yeah.
You know what, that Mario person? I would take Live the Horror as the motto because it's not that bad, first of all. And then also, it's not Never Go Alone. So at least it's new.
Never go live the horror alone.
It can't just keep getting longer.
Never alone, horror, go live yourself.
Never holding horn.
Never holding horn.
Live the horn. That's the new one. Live the horn.
Live the horn.
There was a quick David S. Pumpkins tangent, so I'm not going to go through all of them. But unfortunately, no, we played a little pranky prank. Sorry. My Photoshop skills are just that good, I guess. I don't know.
Some people thought it was real.
It
like,
flickered in and
legitimately.
out, and it was pretty good, Duff. I was actually like looking at it today going, pretty impressive.
Thank you.
I couldn't have done.
Oh, the top of the bird from FNAF. Okay, I can kind of, because I'm looking at that one spot where it kind of looks like that, like a feather. Like I noticed you mentioned that, Jess. So yeah, like I can kind of.
It also
sorta
looks like roots, like at the top, or horn. Like I don't know. It's
Doesn't
horns.
says it's horns.
Horns. Hold.
Girl recording.
Okay.
The true answer. The regrets of our youth. That's what I see every time I look at static, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Alien Spider, do you think the rumored Thursday announcement will just be Five Nights at Freddy's, but with a trailer and tickets available? I will say, we think there's an announcement.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's an announcement, that's for sure.
Yeah. And people were sent information about possibly getting tickets soon.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that.
Still trying to figure out what Otis' whole thing was. I don't really think there was a thing outside of existing for marketing.
He lived under the park. Kind of.
Sort
Not
of.
really.
Kind of, but then he was the park, but then he wasn't in the park.
It was Stranger Things in a year that didn't have Stranger Things.
Yeah. Like Otis spawned sinister and surreal, kind of, but not really. In a way. It was just the evil realm. I don't know. some BS.
Thank God it's not 2024.
Yay. Zach says, do we think there's going to be a more thought out theme icon this year? I think there's not going to be an icon, so the theme will automatically just thematically work at the end of the day. There's really nothing it has to connect to. It just kind of has to be the theme of the event. And I think from the preview merch we saw, if that's the theme of the event, which I think we fully expect it to be, I'm kind of into that whole gothic, overgrown vines thing. That's really cool. So it's a very easy home run choice. So go for it. Why not? I'm into it.
Yeah. It's like doing 31 without the extra stuff. It's just spooky.
What if it's John Murdy's forehead?
That's it. The spaghetti boy found it. There we go.
Got
That's the answer.
Quit. I'm done.
I mean, he always is trolling us, so
Constantly every day.
yeah. I don't think this has anything to do with him, but we're gonna go over some trolling soon. Don't worry. He definitely did it.
He sent it to Orlando's team like, hey, this would be funny. This would be funny for Orlando fans to just look at for hours. And it's just his static and TV, just put his camera up and just took a picture. It's like, see how they like this.
It's one of his vacation pictures.
We'll talk about those ticket rumors very, very soon.
Rather we not.
I don't want to, and I hope they're not real.
Yeah.
Anyways, now it's time to move on to the big boy. There was an announcement officially from Halloween Horror Nights, as most of you know at this point, and that came in I think it was a GIF, not a short video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was Five Nights at Freddy's will be coming to Halloween Horror Nights in both Orlando and Hollywood. And simple as that, it basically is more details to come. The full tweet they put out here is Five Nights at Freddy's is coming in a whole new way to this year's Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights in both Hollywood and Orlando. More details coming soon. You may notice, if you look down at that timestamp, it was tweeted on Sunday at 8:37 p.m.
Hated that. Hated it.
Not a common announcement time frame for HHN or anyone who wants to get traction for that matter. It's just not late night on a weekend's really not the way to go. So obviously led to questions about why did they do this? Was it planned? Why does it just say more details coming soon? Everything about it's really weird, right?
Yeah. I remember I was legitimately just getting ready for work, getting my work clothes out, getting ready to change. And I just was scrolling on my phone for a second. All of a sudden the notification pops up and I thought it was a joke. I was like, this must be someone we're following that also says Halloween Horror Nights in their username or something and whatever. And I clicked on it. It was official. And I jumped in the air like a Scooby-Doo character, like a cartoon character, and started freaking the hell out. Cause I was like, I need to post this. What the hell? I'm looking at the time. I literally just took the screenshot and just put it on Instagram, go. I didn't have time to think. This was the most random thing I think I've ever seen HHN do in the time I've been, a fan. So this is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
It was a shock. It was a shock to see this come up. I was watching a movie and I had to pause said movie to A, go to social media, and B, just kind of figure out what they were doing.
Yeah. I was making dinner and I was also watching Fallout.
There you go.
episode, I think, I don't know if I was on 4 or 5, apparently I watched it, but I didn't watch it because I muted the TV, and I also like jumped like a cartoon character, Jonathan, like it, because Eugene said, because I didn't have my phone, it was on the couch, and Eugene was like, HHN just announced 5 Nights at Freddy's, and I was like, no. You don't tell me about announcements, I tell you about announcements. What are you doing? And he's like, yes. And he shows me the phone, and I like run. And so Ria's freaking out because I'm like, and then I just start pacing because I'm like, well, I don't know I got to make a TikTok. We now have to record something. What the fuck? Like, it was panic. And that's just all HHN content creators, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nobody knew.
That's our safe time.
Yes.
We don't need to worry usually.
Personal time.
That's our break.
Right. I literally, I responded, I said, Chad, do you know it's a Sunday? And they were like, and? I was like, bitch, what the fuck? Go to bed.
No, I think Chad was in bed and got awoken to do this potentially. But there's going to be a more official announcement, obviously, coming regarding the house, because we all believe this is fully going to be a house, regardless of what this says and what it doesn't say. So we don't really need to talk about what we think about this property coming to HHN right now. We've done it a lot in the past. We'll have our chance after the official announcement. What were your immediate thoughts about like why this happened? Did you have any conspiracy theories immediately come to mind?
Yeah, I was like, oh no, this is a mistake. Something happened. I didn't know about the panel or anything. It was just like well, somebody fucked up. Something happened.
Which, if we look at the comments, we're going to lead into that now with, thank you, Mexico. This is all Jason Blum's fault. And it was because of a Blumhouse movie panel. It was in Mexico City. It was called the CCXP Festival. It was a Blumhouse panel. And as you can see, the same image that we just showed you that came with the official HHN announcement was shown on the screens at that panel as well. This happened just earlier in the day from when HHN made their announcement, leading you to believe that this was planned and they just didn't want to fully do an announcement yet. So they said, yeah, we'll just like say more details coming soon. You can announce it at this panel. Or B, Jason Blum went rogue and announced this early, and HHN had to scramble and put something out there.
The image, being the same exact thing we got on the tweet, same more details coming soon, same logo, same space, makes me think this was planned, but like last minute plan, like either day of, where Jason Blum's like, hey, I got an idea, I want to do this, or like the day before, but not enough where they have no material for like an announcement video or anything like that. They can't even probably even say what it is, because they just say more details coming soon. Just feels like a last minute thing, like, hey, we're gonna do this panel, can we do something real quick? I don't think it was literally he said it and then the social media team like ran to do it. I think this was planned, but like not very far in advance, like pretty shortly, but there was some sort of planning that they both were talking about with each other and communicating about.
I don't know, because when you do like a big contract like this, you're both going to have the same like files, and the first thing you're going to do is probably like the logo that's going to go on like the house portal and like all that other shit. So like for me, this would be the easiest way for Jason Blum to just be like, well, I'm going to do it because it's already signed off, like in my opinion.
That's true.
So like not just like an accident, like fully rogue Jason Blum just been like, you know what, I'm at a panel, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah, and like I'm probably wrong, but also a logo is like the first thing you greenlight.
Yeah,
when you're doing something like this.
I would say if that is the case, obviously he was still probably very much in the wrong, because I'm sure HHN did not sign off on this use.
No.
So unless, of course, that's not the case and they did plan this.
Yeah. It's the more details coming soon at the end being the same image we got on the tweet.
No, I get what you're saying.
That's because the logo, yeah, everyone has that logo. He's holding all the whatever documents.
I like the logo though. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think it looks good with the HHN on it.
It is really cool.
It is nice.
I love the neon. I think the colors are fucking cool. I think it's cool. But yeah, no, the more details coming soon being the same. I get what you're saying.
And I think honestly, we almost immediately heard that this was something that Blumhouse had talked about earlier, but we hadn't seen like images or video from it yet. Um, so at first, I definitely thought it was a case of Blumhouse leaking this, or like you say, just maybe even fully just going rogue and saying "fuck it, we're gonna do it." But then when I saw that it's literally the same image, I was like, maybe not. Maybe this was a planned thing. Maybe, like you said, Jonathan, maybe not planned well ahead of time at all. It was just kind of a
Yeah.
last minute, like Jason Blum being like, "Yo, I want to announce this," and like, what?
He wants the exclusive.
I'm like, all right, here's the image we can use right now, and we'll just kind of keep up. So, yeah, it's tough to say, but I would assume Universal, regardless, did not want to do it this way, whether it was planned or leaked or whatever it may be. I'm sure going into meetings, Universal wasn't like, yeah, let's have them announce it at the panel and let's just say more details coming soon.
Right.
There's no way. That's not a good marketing push. That's not how you get people excited for what's going to be one of your headliner properties.
Yeah, and media outlets were confused because there was a tweet Inside Universal made right when this was posted saying first house announced for HHN 2025/34, and then it quickly got changed like a couple minutes later because I think they looked back at it and went like, wait, it just says, it doesn't say house, and there was an article I think yesterday or last night or this morning. My time's all concept of time is messed up for me. By Sci-Fi that said, "Yep, first house announced," and it says Five Nights at Freddy's, and they never said house. And I don't think I don't think media outlets know exactly what to call this, and so that's why I feel like they didn't want to do this because now everyone is everyone's saying this is a house even though they didn't officially say it. And when they actually announce it as a house, they're just gonna make another article saying Five Nights at Freddy's house when they already
Yeah.
did. And it's very weird. I mean, it worked well because I mean there was a ton of engagement on the tweet and Instagram post or whatever. Like it definitely got people looking and talking about it. And there's a billion videos now on YouTube, and the Five Nights at Freddy's community clinged on to that because they were all probably watching the panel to begin with. But it's just very interesting choice that I don't know was super thought through.
Mm-hmm. And I think the funniest thing ever would be if we don't hear about this for a fucking while.
Yep.
And that's possible. Before we get to the schedule, possibly, and what that could dictate, I do want to go back to one part first, and that's what everyone is kind of hung up on about this is just one quick little blurb here, which is coming in a whole new way. So immediately everyone goes, well, you didn't make this specifically a house announcement. You're saying a whole new way. This isn't a house. This is a different experience of some sort. And this isn't like a small thing. This is like the entire community ablaze with, could this be something other than a house? And we've had a ton of comments about it, by the way. Yes, if it's not a house, there probably would be a revolution. I don't think that's going to be the case, luckily, but yeah. I mean, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll do the pizza. As long as it's better than Louis, I'm good.
It's just going to be Louis Pizza.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the biggest thing in the community. There's people like fully 100% convinced this can't be a house because of the way this worded and how it's announced.
What?
Yeah. So I think I've already mentioned we're all fully on board with it's a house announcement that had some weird choices and probably issues leading up to the way this was released. Could there be something more along with the house? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think the way I'm looking at it and why it would say a whole new way is kind of this was pitched, especially because it was announced first at a panel for Five Nights at Freddy's fans specifically. It's being pitched as you're seeing Five Nights at Freddy's in a whole new way. And a whole new way for Five Nights at Freddy's would be a house at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yep.
That's all it means, in my opinion. That's how I read it, and that's how I'm looking at that situation. I don't think they're trying to say they're doing something different for Halloween Horror Nights. They're just saying they're doing something different for this specific IP, which is a house.
Yeah. And it might be getting too far ahead of ourselves, but a lot of other insiders are hinting that whatever we get Thursday, because that's the big rumor, we're getting something Thursday, maybe tickets, maybe something else, would not be this. We'll get to that. We'll get to the discussion that so it would not be Five Nights at Freddy's. And if you were going to announce another, like there's contracts and stuff involved when you have announcements. You tell the property holders we're announcing it this day, this time, or whatever. You can't just go back on that and say, hey, you're going to be the first announcement and then announce something earlier. Because I think that would make the property holders who was supposed to be the first announcement very upset. And you don't want to do that. Like there's contracts involved. You can't just say surprise, we're announcing a property that, that will take people away from looking at your announcement. Like they don't, that's not okay. Like there's a reason they space out the properties the way that they do.
Unless it's just that the contract says you're the first house announcement and they get real legal with them.
Exactly. Like that. That's why I think they didn't say house. Like, that's my assumption.
That's all it is. I do think we talked about it on the podcast, but I do think if you just take one of the Universal movie escapes that's not doing well and make it an overlay, that could be fucking cool. And there's an escapology now in Hollywood that, from what I've seen, is not doing great already.
Oh, that was quick.
Wow. Escape rooms have they're still popular, but that was like years ago.
They're not what they used to be. Yeah, no. They are not what they used to be. And putting in an area where it's like you have to like pay to park, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like a way to succeed in that business.
No, you're already paying a lot.
And I haven't looked at the prices, but like, are they more expensive because it's at City Walk?
I don't know.
We're getting way off track here. We don't need to talk about that. I do want to bring up this comment from Galvanized Horror. What a blunder of an announcement. Good one. Great. I like that. Do not put that on us, DC Thrills. That is not going to happen. We are not going to deal with that. There's not going to be an announcement during this live stream.
You will watch Jonathan and I crash out.
Yep.
Jonathan will probably disappear.
I will disappear.
Yeah, camera off.
Yeah.
It will just be a show again because he will have a lot to do.
But I'll forget to turn off my mic, and it'll just be me like screaming, just like cursing on the top of my lungs. Just like, what?
But let's see what people think. Chico Soul says, pretty sure it was planned. That's what a lot of horror insiders were saying before. And I think we do have to remember, we are looking at this from an HHN fan angle, whereas this was not a panel geared towards HHN fans. So we weren't really anticipating this whatsoever. So it felt like it came out of the blue. But people who were more looking towards this panel seemed like they kind of already knew something like this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, kind of leading to the maybe this wasn't an accident and it was just planned, but maybe poorly planned.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer this real quick because I'm going to lose it if not. For the RIP tour in Hollywood, you get front of line access after in the RIP tour line. And then the buffet is only open for certain hours, but technically you can return if it is in those hours when it's open. Let's see. And here's a big comment that I've seen a lot. Is it going to be more like a fan fest experience than a traditional house? So kind of staying on like the house side of things, but a little different. And so that I still say probably not.
No.
My assumption would be this is going to be a traditional Halloween Horror Nights house.
Yep. Agreed.
Now,
maybe sorry, real fast. Maybe Murdy like is inspired by FanFest and Hollywood maybe have like that kind of touch. I don't even know what that really means, but maybe that's the only thing I could think of. But in Orlando, no, there's no way with our ops and capacity that we could slowly bring no, not happening.
Yeah, no, I think it will be more, like in terms of like FanFest. Like FanFest had some puppets and stuff. Like I do think it will dive more into that territory. Think more Quiet Place, where a lot of everything was puppets and stuff like that. I feel like we could see a lot of that here, where it might not feel like a traditional HHN house, because I don't think Quiet Place did. Like it did, but it was very different from what we're used to in a way. I feel like it'd be more like that, but not like FanFest where they pulse you and stuff like that, and there's actors talking to you, and there's a whole. I think it's just going to be just a house. But a more puppet heavy house than there usually is.
And I do want to bring up this comment from Mike Daniels because it's kind of looking at it from more of an HHN perspective of what a whole new way could mean. And that's it. What we've talked about for a long time is if you bring this property, those costumes are going to be a lot more difficult than your typical house and the costume characters are putting in those houses. So maybe it's more implying like it's going to be a bit different how it's handled staffing wise. Like, is it going to be super puppet heavy? Is it not really going to have many human scare actors involved? Maybe that potentially.
Yeah, I think maybe puppets, and also like I could see them going like the route of like I don't know how to explain this, but in my head I see it like kind of like or maybe they're not in the full costume, but they're like coming from out of something, so it's just the top half or something, or like just an arm, or like little things to make it so the characters were in there a lot, but it's not a fully costume person. It's just pieces of, or just a head, or like whatever.
Yeah, the interesting part about the games and what I'm worried about for the house, but I think what you were saying, Jess, actually this could maybe make it work, is that when they jump scare you, because the whole point of these games, and I know we're discussing the movie, but the movie kind of did that a little bit too. But the whole point is that they like have a big giant jump scare, and they jump scare you, and they're super articulate, and they're fast in their movement. If people are going to be dressed up in these costumes, these big, bulky, likely bulky costumes for these characters, all they're going to be able to do is sort of just pop out of a boo hole and just go like and go back in. That's the extent of their movement that they're going to be able to do. But if you have like a little head on a stick or something that's in a corner, I don't know. Think Chucky Ultimate Kill Count.
Freddy Fazbear's just
yeah. But if you hide it in a dark corner and you like push it out really fast, and it's it's like him like going like whatever, like that technically could be a way to simulate the speed of the characters in the franchise, even so there is, I guess, a way to do that. But if they're wearing the costumes, they're not going to be moving much. There's not going to be much scaring that's going to be happening, but in terms of kinetic movement and stuff like that.
And then also to add on, there it is. While I do think there probably is some size issue, just because of the way boo holes traditionally work in Orlando, and then also just the space they give scare actors and how they approach you typically in Hollywood, size could still be an issue. But also, it's like the articulation of the faces is a huge role of those films and what makes them kind of terrifying creatures. If you lose that, and you let people get a good enough look at these characters for long enough, and it's not moving, it's gonna be a lot less convincing suddenly.
Yeah.
So like these costumes are like troublesome kind of no matter what angle you look at it from.
Yep. Think about the floaters. Just
Yep.
gonna bring them up every time.
But even worse, because these have to have like facial features that like and reactions and
walk, and like the bloaters just kind of like shuffled out at you.
Yeah, they just got to like waddle, and then that's it.
It was great. They're kind of adorable. Let's be real. This is not going to be adorable. I'm very excited to see how it works, because I like in this world, like we've seen a million cosplayers tackle it like in a way that they can wear it for 12 hours at a con and somehow survive. So there is a way to do it. I hope it works.
Yeah, they'd have to put some serious money in the costumes. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
they will. But the sets are going to be cool. That I am very excited for that. The vibes are going to be cool.
Can't go wrong with just like haunted Chuck E. Cheese,
Right.
And I think it's kind of the biggest selling point of this property, especially for people who aren't really into it and have no attachment to Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm going to be looking for the settings, because one thing I picked up from watching the film is that like the spaces they put you in could be pretty fucking cool.
And scary.
Because like, especially in Orlando with the space they have, and if this is going to end up in a soundstage like it's rumored, they could almost literally like recreate fully the pizzeria. Like, you could feel like you're fully within a specific room of the pizzeria, fully surrounded. And that is just incredible to think about if they pull it off.
Yeah.
So hopefully it is very scenic heavy and they lean on that a lot, but we'll see. Will we finally get a Matthew Lillard scare actor?
No, they're gonna keep
Much
him
later
there.
than we expected, in a very different property than when we would have expected. If
You
someone
think-
would have told you in 2015, the first time you see a Matthew Lillard scare actor would be at Five Nights in Freddy's.
They'd be like, what's he doing in the franchise?
Exactly.
I hope that they put a ghost face mask somewhere in this maze, just like hide it if there is a Matthew Lillard. Just like
He's apparently they're having a Five Nights at Freddy's collab with Dead by Daylight, and they have like a you can buy a skin, like a special skin, and it's the movie version, and Matthew Lillard's doing more like voice lines for it. So like
that's
recorded
cool.
completely new things for the game. So
sorry, go ahead.
No, it just seems like he likes this property a lot, and he's really all for it. And I would hope maybe they record some new things for the houses, but I don't count on it. But that'd be fun.
That would be cool. Hydra points out it's definitely not going to be costume. Scott's super protective of the brand, and we've seen brands opt for animatronics to avoid issues with costume actors portraying characters they're protective of. And that's a really good point because. Again, I don't know everything about this property, but one thing I've heard since it's been rumored for a couple of years now is that the creator is extremely difficult to work with. So it could be a really good point there.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I'm
now we
okay
can
with
move on
that for consistency, though. Sorry.
Yeah, no, same. I agree. We can move on a bit to what Legacy has said about this. We are going to talk more about some random rumors about this house or property coming to HHN in general a bit later. But these two I really want to put in this segment. And this is something we've thought the whole time. Legacy kind of confirming that he's heard this is based on the movie and not the video game. It's not really a surprise, but it's what we're getting. And I think the biggest concern there is, well, there's only been one film, and it has a lot less to work with than the games. So the question becomes, can they pull from the second film, which doesn't come out till after the event ends? Yeah. To be seen, I guess, right?
I don't think they can, because once again, that person's super protective of their property. And I don't know how you incorporate elements from the second film in this house unless you just have a stinger or like new scenes, because there's nothing in the movie that you could be like, okay, Fallout, for example. One of our biggest concerns is there's not a lot of monsters in the show, right? So what do? Technically, if they're allowed to, rights-wise, it's a whole wasteland. You could just throw monsters there and they just live there. Like it can both coexist in the same season in the same area. But FNAF, you can't take characters from the other movie because they don't exist yet. In this timeline, unless you literally made new scenes for FNAF 2, like a special sneak peek or something. But you can't really expand anything upon we already have in the film because they aren't real yet, in the context of the timeline.
Yeah, and they're not going to spoil that. That's like the biggest film coming out besides like Wicked this year.
And I do want to point this out. Deej, if you're being honest, and we trust you here, no way they'll include info from the sequel. It's under heavy wraps. I signed major NDAs to work on the film.
Wow.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
But also kind of what we expected, especially based off like how hard this property has been to acquire for anyone and how hard they are to work with. It wouldn't make a ton of sense that they're suddenly just like, yeah, start releasing shit from the movie that's not out yet.
Looking at this comment here, Legacy made that they have Josh Hutcherson lookalikes and the Ghost Kids in it. Are there going to be like 5 scenes in the house where it's just you're back in the camera room and Josh is just napping, taking a little nap
I do think that I was thinking about the camera room earlier because in the games, like you do when they get close enough. I mean, in the movie too, but like this is the whole point is like you're watching the camera. They get close enough, you only see like an eye or you only see like a mouth, and that's kind of like what I mean for like maybe that's also how we're gonna see some of them is like through screen. Maybe they drop. I don't know. I did see a comment about drop doors possibly being like super popular in the house. But like that could be really interesting if you're like looking at like what you think is a screen and then like there they fucking are.
You can even have, because I know the games, like if they get a little close, they're just sort of standing still, and then a light flickers and they're standing there and they're looking at you, but then it turns off and you can't see them anymore. And that's an easy way to just put up a mannequin of one of the characters, instead of having to build any complex puppets or animatronics or like actual costumes. Just put a mannequin there, have them in a corner from like behind a doorway so no one can touch them. Shine a light, they look at you for a second, then the light turns off and you keep moving. You keep moving on. That's something I could absolutely see them doing if they get a little more creative than they did in the movie. We'll see on that front. We'll see how much they're able to pull from the games, in terms of how they scare people. Because the movie, there's not much scaring in it at all.
A little bit more than another rumored IP property, but still, yeah, not too much.
Yeah.
Chloe says, scariest house for me since I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. It's going to be some real deep personal trauma going on in that house.
Oh, yeah.
Chloe and B can go through together. B also worked at Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. For a while.
No. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to hear all the fun facts this year.
Yay. So let's move on to the last bit of rumors about this house before we move on from this house completely for the time being. Legacy also points out that would not expect further details on this house for a while, likely July. So again, one of the other big talks about this has been like, well, A, was this planned to come out this week and be the first house announcement? B, if it wasn't, are they just going to push it forward to this week? Jonathan, like you brought up, these contracts are done well in advance. There's no way they could just be like, hey, Terrifier or any random house that was planned to be first, you're actually not going to be our first headlining announcement. It's now going to be Five Nights at Freddy's because Jason Blum decided to go rogue. Sorry, that's not how it works. Whatever was planned to be this week is going to be announced this week. And Legacy, who I will say, whatever you want to say about his accuracy this year on speculation, always seems to really has his fingers on the pulse as far as announcements and their dates and their schedules.
Yeah.
So when Legacy speaks about when to expect a specific announcement, you might want to listen to that one. And he's thinking July for Five Nights at Freddy's.
So Five Nights and Frequent Fears possibly together.
Actually, yeah, that'd be perfect.
That would be
normal time frame for Frequent Fears. B, huge property to drop with it.
Absolutely.
So you can only use your Frequent Fear for 5 nights. And that's it.
Could I opt for a WWE Frequent Fear instead?
Our new Rush of Fear. It's 5 nights long. Enjoy. That'll be $600, please.
That's a rush right now. That's a sprint of fear, actually.
It's true. Yeah, but this makes sense. This makes total sense and why they wouldn't say house in the announcement. And you have to wait because once again, all the articles, all the websites are going Five Nights at Freddy's house because they don't understand that it doesn't say house, and everyone's just saying Five Nights at Freddy's house, all the news outlets and stuff like that. And so you want to give them a minute before they have to make another article saying Five Nights at Freddy's house. You need time between the two articles. So it makes sense that they, if it's true, that they'd wait a little bit.
Yeah.
MC Film says, very funny to delay all the announcements for Epic only for a false start after all the build-up. I know, right? It's crazy. Like, we waited so much longer than we normally, so much longer for the past decade plus than we normally would for an announcement. And the first thing we get is this. So, yeah.
It is very funny. It also lines up with everything it's just been weird in the last year. Nothing makes sense anymore. Sunday announcements, fine.
Strange. But we're going to wrap up the Five Nights at Freddy's talk for now. We do have a few things later to kind of tie into our rumors segment, but we're going to move on to a few other things for the time being. And I think we should start with Hollywood construction, one of our favorite things. And I think that comes with a big announcement. As you know, every time we talk about Hollywood construction in the photos, that's courtesy of our friend Kevin. I don't think he's just our friend Kevin anymore, right, Jonathan?
I mean, he will always be our friend Kevin.
Are we hard launching a relationship right now with Kevin?
We kind of are.
Ooh.
We're more than friends.
That's what I was like, whoa, Duff.
Yeah. So Kevin, not like in terms of like the podcast itself and the live, the stuff we do here. But Kevin is now officially part of HN365 as our Hollywood correspondent. Because Kevin, lives in Hollywood, is able to get, pictures like this and talk about thoughts in the event when we're not even there yet and everything going on. And we figured, Kevin's been taking pictures for us, for so long that it was about time to make him officially part of the team that we have.
Promotion.
Yep. It is well deserved to like officially join the team. Like Jonathan said, you're not going to see him on lives or on the podcast. Still kind of doing what Kevin does, but with a more official title. And then also, I think you'll see some more potential activity on Discord out of this promotion, if you will.
Yes. So we're gonna try our best that every time we have something that's super Hollywood related in our Discord lives that we do, that if schedules align, Kevin will be a part of it, talking about their thoughts and everything about what's going on in construction and all that good stuff. We have a lot, little planned that I haven't had time to do yet because work. But that's all going to be, figured out relatively soon. But yeah, Kevin's, our friend Kevin's now officially part of our team, which is great.
Whoop, whoop.
Look at us. We're like a team of 7 now with Discord mods and Kevin and so cool. So
And
cool.
then us bozos.
And us. You mean you're paying him now?
We're not getting paid.
Yeah. His payment is he's not going into debt for this podcast
Been here for
/
3
brand
years.
like the rest of us are. So
Exactly.
that's the payment, not having to pay.
Not losing money.
Yes, correct.
You might get a free shirt once in a while. That's all we get.
Listen, I asked him, I'm like, hey, we'll give you some merch. He's always declined, but maybe now he'll
Wow.
take up our offer.
It might be
What
time.
if I bring a shirt with me and force it on him when we go to California?
There we go.
That can work.
I just need your size, Kevin. Or I'll guess. I can look at a photo. I used to work in purchasing. I can look at a photo and tell you the size you are. Now I'm getting creepy. I will
Send
be
me a
forcing
photo.
shirt.
No.
Yeah.
I'm blocking your face for that one.
I'll be down here in the shame corner.
A lot of congrats for Kevin.
Absolutely, it's
Love
well
it.
deserved. Well deserved.
Kevin
Considering
emoji in the server.
we're thinking about it. We're gonna discuss that. Everyone in our servers, like, that pickle from SpongeBob, like the one in like the jellyfishing contest episode or whatever, like with the glasses. Everyone's like, that should be the emoji. And it's so silly. Maybe. I was thinking more Kevin McAllister from Home Alone, just him going, him doing the face. But
I mean, that is pretty good.
Yeah.
We can have both. We'll see. We'll
we can
talk
have
about
both. Yeah.
it. Actually, you do Discord. You can decide. Have fun.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
matter.
have
We
no
have for
say
some
in
reason have a
Discord.
Rizzler emoji right now. I don't even know how that happened. I
You
think
know
I
how
think
that
Nobody told me.
You
You
know
guys are
how that
supposed to
happened.
keep me updated on the Discord shit if it's interesting like that.
what happens. I think Alex made a stupid bet and lost, and then they're like, "All right, Rizzler emojis in the server now," and I'm like,
Okay, well, mark this in the things you should let Jess know about next time because now I'm
true.
disappointed.
So when we get some big boom emojis, I'll let you know.
I really thought you were going to say big boob. And I was like, I'm surprised we don't already have one.
Now that you mention it,
What about a holding horn one first?
that needs to happen.
Does.
Needs to happen. Anyways, bringing us back to where we are. Thank you, DC Thrills. Man, that looks exactly like the Poltergeist house. Kevin needs to be studied.
I think he's
Yeah,
sick
yeah.
at this point.
Really tied it all together there. Yeah, so this is the most recent photo we have of the Poltergeist facade. I'm just going to say Poltergeist facade at this point. You can all see it. Clear as day. And then let's just go take a look at this as well, where we can literally pick out a specific little corner of the house where it is exactly the same. If you had any questions about whether this could be a different house just based off what it looks like design-wise, it is the same house.
Yep.
Simple as that. I know we don't have to harp on this too much, but there it is.
I don't
Don't
want to
need
say
any more proof.
rumored or speculated in the tweets anymore because it's just it's like if there was a big Ghostbusters firehouse and you kept going, this is rumored to be Ghostbusters. It's such a distinct location now that I know. We say rumored all the time and speculated, but it's
This is
Poltergeist.
the house.
It's the
Mhm.
house.
This is the house.
It's the house. All right, moving on to our next update from Hollywood. We're going to go to Parisian Courtyard. This is the rumored Monstrous 3 or Monstrous. And I think last time on the live we talked about Kevin's theory, where basically every version of Monstrous, basically this just gets grander and grander and grander. And kind of at the point now where we're looking at this, we're like, yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah. It still looks like a mausoleum. I still think we're
Mhm.
going in that direction. Obviously things can update and change, but just a more grand mausoleum, a more expensive one.
Mm-hmm.
Think his theory might be right. We'll see.
I think so.
Yeah.
Monstrous.
I'm excited to see the detailing work and what they're going to put on this, because this is generally one of my favorite facades Hollywood has. I like the other two Monsters one. It's in person. It's just really cool standing right by it and seeing how big it is and how much detail they put in everywhere with all the little items they place. And sometimes there's even little animatronic movement and stuff. So I'm excited to see this as we get further along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like Bride and Frankie hanging out at the bottom.
Oh, they are there. Look at that.
They're always right there too. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Consistent.
Albert, listen, I would be so down for this. I think that would be a great original from Orlando for Hollywood to tackle. I just don't expect it at this point.
Yeah.
I actually think it would be a terrible original for Hollywood to tackle based on how they did. I forgot the creature. What's like the wolf dog creature they had in Monstros 2? Forgot what it was called.
I could tell you all three from Monstros, the first one, but I could not tell you.
But just like the little dog that went like, eh.
Oh,
like that's how I'd imagine them do Chupacabra.
Someone will tell us because El Cadejo.
Yeah, El
Thank you.
Cadejo. I actually don't want them touching Chupacabra. Actually, just don't do it. Please don't.
Fair. That's fair. To be fair, our Chupacabras didn't look great either.
Yeah, but they didn't look that bad. They didn't look.
Don't get me started. You know how I felt about that house.
No, that's true. That's true.
Never had a good run.
Oh,
I'm excited to see what this goes, though.
Yeah, I think we kind of have a good idea what it's going to look like, but just like, But also, who's in it?
I like that idea of that it's like a rich guy's mausoleum, because when we were looking them up, was it last week or the week before? Like, they're kind of, I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it like gold and white or something.
And then Hydra's kind of blowing my mind here. Not only would it be Monstrous Tris, is there Tris Monstrous?
Whoa.
Wow.
Probably.
I mean, yeah, that's probably how it's going to work. That's exactly how it would work. And then we also have another update here, and we're going over to the Mummy Q tent. Whereas we've talked about previously, this is just kind of a better angle than last time we talked about it. The theory from Kevin is that this is going to be Friday the 13th or Jason universe house of some sort, and that low protruding part, Jason's cabin / shack. Everything surrounding it, now painted black, would kind of be like a wooded area surrounding the cabin. There's also a door, like a scare actor door, over to the right here, where anyone that you want to consider popping out could pop out.
Yep.
And it looks, again, like, especially after they painted it black, it's like, oh yeah, that would make a lot of sense if it's going to be like just the woods, because that's how you're going to add a lot of depth.
Yeah.
We were talking about Kevin's sort of idea, like not even a theory, just a guess on the podcast that maybe the person popping out of the door would be Pamela. But then I did more research, and I don't think they'd be able to use her. I just don't think
that's why the origin story is coming out, because that's how the rights went.
Yeah, so I think it'd just be probably Jason.
We could probably hear her voice, like a voiceover of her, like.
Think that'd be allowed?
I don't know if it'll be her voice, but it might just be like mother, because that's like that's like in the head,
Something I know Hollywood has done. I don't know if this is in the movies at all, but usually in their Jason houses, they have like a shrine for her, and they have like her head or something like that. Would they even be able to have that? Would that be okay, or would that be off limits? Because that's Hollywood likes when they bring back their classic franchises. usually with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they always have a certain room that they always repeat and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure with Jason, the room they usually repeat is the shrine. So
could they do it just without her likeness?
Probably. Just a head. Use Herschel's head again from the
and everyone understand what they're going for at that point.
Yeah.
Or like turn the head back. Like we only see the back of the head. I don't know.
They could. Yeah, I mean that could work. People will get
it is a big part of his like story though, is also like his love for his mother and like all of that, like the craze and yeah. So the shrine makes sense. It's in I think a few of the movies. There's so fucking many of those movies, as much as I love them.
Yeah, it has a lot of confusing lore going on, that's for sure.
I'm so scared to get into it. I'm so worried. Like it's probably gonna be a fun time. No, just with like all the movies, like how much there is.
It's fun. Jason Lives is my favorite because he's Frankenstein, and not like literally it's Frankenstein.
I like that.
That's what I tell everybody. If you like a monster movie, monster slasher, but that's the 6th one. So,
oh, see, that's why I'm afraid, because you just said the number 6, and there's more than that.
There's 12 of them. I think.
Just get watching, Jonathan. Just get watching.
Can I just watch 3 and just be fine, or do I need to
watch the first one because it won't matter.
First one won't matter at all.
Because I mean that's Pamela.
Yeah, probably won't. If that's assuming what they can't touch, I don't know if we're 100% sure. Yeah, you wouldn't need to watch it.
And you know how he became. He drowned in the lake.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So I would say like not even 2 because he couldn't get the mask. Well, he doesn't even get the mask until. We're definitely going to see Baghead Jason in the house, I think.
Pick 3 random ones starting at the 3rd.
Got it.
3, 6. I think you would like X or Manhattan, just knowing how much you like.
He probably would love Manhattan.
You would
love Manhattan.
Jonathan, there's a kung fu scene in Manhattan
with Jason.
Well, he's not doing well. No. Yes.
Okay, I'd be into that.
Sci-fi.
You will like it. You will have a great time with that film. I promise.
Watch 3, watch 6, and watch Manhattan.
There we go. I can do that. That's easy.
Seatown. Yes, there is an old dude in the first 3 who warns the protagonist or something. And I'm gonna actually credit. We don't always give you credit, Albert. I'm gonna credit you here. You hit us up on Twitter, and you're like, you know what? Maybe it's Crazy Ralph who's gonna pop out of that scare actor door in the front, and it's like
Albert. Yeah.
Yes, that makes I don't want to say it's like a 100% thing that's gonna happen, but that makes a ton of sense. It really does.
It would.
Yeah.
And on the podcast, we were all just like, yeah, maybe it's just Jason.
Jonathan, the chat is reminding me, if you only want to watch one, though, 4 is like what everybody says is the best one.
Okay.
I gave you my recommendations.
I'll probably do. I'll add 4 into it.
3, 4, 6. I don't remember which one Manhattan is, but it's in there.
Okay.
DC Thrill says, I'm calling these Kevin's houses at this point. This one will be really insane if he's correct, which he probably is.
Yeah.
Mothman, there's no doubt in my mind Kevin is Murdy.
There's no way Murdy would be a correspondent on this.
John Murdy is the 365 Hollywood correspondent.
Make sure to join our Discord for our lives when you randomly hear when we bring Kevin on in the Hollywood segment. It's just John Murdy talking.
That's why I'm not on Discord, because John and I have beef. We can never be together. That's why.
It's true.
Ooh. Is the Kung Fu scene as good as the Halloween movie where Busta Rhymes beats Michael Myers using judo?
Why compare apples to oranges?
Fair.
I like both.
Fair. All right, and moving on, again, just another look here at the backside of this tent where we once again do have this extended exit portion of the house, which is always nice. Get a little extra bit out of it. I believe The Last of Us is the only one recently not to use this. Is that correct?
No, Dead Exposure.
Dead Exposure, sorry.
Yeah,
Dead Exposure.
Last of Us used it. It wasn't Black Walls, though.
No, yeah.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
I got my ears confused. Dead Exposure was last year.
Yeah, no. I said on the tweet, because I wasn't at Hollywood still. I'm not a Hollywood person. I'm not. That Last of Us was the only house in this location to have its ending not have like black walls, and that's true for the extended ending. But Dead Exposure technically, since it didn't have the extended ending, it did not end with black walls. Because it just like exited through the tent. So Last of Us was the only house with the extended ending, as far as we're aware, to not have black walls. But as we can see in this picture, it looks like this extended ending is having black walls. So we're going to probably end with, I guess, a bunch of Jason going out of a...
I see their boo holes, and it's terrifying.
Just
It's very small hallways.
Ooh.
Oh my God, these are going to be big boys.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it for Hollywood construction. Not too many additional updates this week, but I'm sure we'll have a bunch more soon, especially as they start to really finish out these facades. And with that, we are going to move over to Jess, your favorite segment.
Do I have to sing? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Warn me when there's Murdy tweets.
That was the
Murdy
warning.
Murdy tweets. I didn't know they were on this live. I'm not gonna. Oh God.
Murdy tweets, yeah. Well, what a shot. So this is going to be actually a huge string of tweets, but we're not going to show all of them. That is pointless. And actually, I need to step away for just 1 second. So Jonathan, if you could just describe what this whole chain of tweets was.
Absolutely. So John Murdy, on the whatever day this was, decided to post a bunch of GIFs of things that were not hints to HHN 2025. He's like, this is not a hint for HHN 2025. And of course, everyone in the comments was like, this is Fallout. This is Terrifier. This is Wyatt 6. And Murdy's just like, read the caption. It's not. It's this. I just posted random, GIFs. That's it. But this is the one at the end of the string of tweets, that he said is or might be a hint for HHN 2025. And if I were to have it right on the top of my head, this is a picture of Herbert Cowboy Coward, and the big idea, which Kevin actually, I did not think of this because I didn't even know who this was. Kevin was like, hey, it says cowboy in it. It's probably Fallout. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. It's probably a hint to Fallout. It could be anything because Murdy is very weird with his hints, but I think it's the most likely one that it's referencing, because Fallout is basically just cowboys. Like there's a bunch of you've seen the show now, Jess. Like the ghoul is a cowboy,
I was gonna say there's not a bunch of cowboys yet. I'm only on episode 4, Jonathan.
Oh no, just
one
of the main characters is it's like a Western kind of like there's a cowboy in it.
I understand the thumbs up now, guys. Wait, I understand it now. I meant to say that. I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. he is a cowboy.
Yeah, and I mean, now that we're talking about it for a second, what do you think of it? Just within a couple episodes, I guess, in the context of the show and of HHN.
I'm gonna say something really positive, but first I'm gonna get this out of the way. That first episode is so fucking hard to get through.
It's long. It's very long.
Long. It does not. I mean, like, yeah, I'm happy for her. Thank you for setting. I understand we're story setting and everything. But it's like when we finally get down in the vaults, it is like pulling fucking teeth out until the wedding actually happens. And then even then, the episode is not over yet.
We got 2 more stories to talk about.
It just like kept going. And I just almost wish that they would have made that episode 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really almost gave up halfway through that episode. It was really hard for me. And then once I got to episode 2, I was like, okay, this is fun. I think that the creatures are cool. I saw I don't remember its name, but the bear thing. That's scary. The gulper. I love that baby so much. It's so cute. It looks like a big axolotl. Mm-hmm. I fucking love it. I really like Lucy. I really like, does he have a name? Is it just Cowboy the Demon?
Ghoul.
Okay. Ghoul, whatever. I really like him. Walton Goggins. He really do got that gog in him. But I think I don't know if I said it in the group chat or just to Duff. It's action that's just really fucking gory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing really scary so far, but again, I'm only like halfway through season 1. So, but like the monsters are going to be scary in the house. Scenically, I'm so excited.
Oh yeah. That
market where they first where the guy gets his, I don't know if there's spoilers or whatever, but where the motherfucker gets his leg shut off. That whole scene, I was like, this is Descendants of Destruction.
Yep.
outside. It was great.
Yeah,
and that's like all shit I like. I like Mad Max. I like all of that. So I'm going to finish it. It kind of makes me want to maybe play a game because I do love video games, but I really like it. I just don't think it is the scariest of things, but I think HHN will probably find a way to make it scary.
Mm-hmm.
That was very long-winded. Welcome back, Duff.
Thank you. Have you obviously got to it? Probably meaning Fallout. Caught onto that. Have you got to any of the comments about this yet? Or
No, we can't. No. We can't pull them up.
I know you can't pull them up, but sometimes.
They were scrolling by. I was just talking.
One to drag us from Fallout, and I don't know what this means, but apparently you do, Jess. This is WWE, the Sheep Herders.
Okay, so I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast. I only started watching during the pandemic when I met my husband. So if it happened before and has nothing to do with women's wrestling, because that's what got me into it, I probably don't know what that is. But I'm gonna look it up.
Wade, get in here.
Yeah, I'm like, Eugene.
I like this one. And his tooth fall out.
It's true.
That's good. And also might be true. That might literally be why Murdy did that.
The Bushwhackers? Is that who we're talking about?
Sheep herders.
No, when I look up the sheep herders,
are they called the Bushwhackers?
They were also called the Bushwhackers.
Wade.
I don't know why this. Tell me why this matters, Albert. Tell me.
Before that, Brianna says Fallout is fun, but it doesn't feel like horror, and I think that's definitely one of the TV series versus game situations. Whereas in the game, plenty of horror, plenty of characters to pull from that are horror. In the series, especially season 1, from what we've seen, not so much.
Mm-hmm. It's weird too, because I would even say something like Ghostbusters has more horror in it, more scenes that are designed to get a scare out of you than Fallout does. There is no scene in Fallout there might be one near the end or near later in the season, but really there's barely any scenes, if at all, that are designed to get the person watching to go or anything like that, or even it's just gore. That's about it. Yeah. If you're okay with gore, there's no scaring happening in it.
The Bushwhackers have no teeth.
Oh, toothless.
Yeah, I just saw a photo and I see what you're talking about, Albert. He looks very much like that in a photo, the one with dark hair.
Oh, toothless.
Really? Yeah.
It's How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon House. There we go.
Live action How to Train Your Dragon coming to HHN. Synergy.
Yeah.
Or the Bushwhackers coming this fall only at Holding Horn Nights.
Happy Pride. The Bushwhacker. My favorite lesbian bar. Yeah. I can say
that. Let's see. Oh, I lost it. Oh, no, this is why I'm supposed to start stuff. Okay, here we go. MC Film says, don't know anything about Fallout, but do we think it'll be too similar to Hatchet and Chains, or is it not that cowboyish? So I'd say Fallout only gets really cowboyish in the tone of the TV series more than anything. And it would be, I think, honestly, even kind of difficult to fully portray that vibe in a house unless they really try. And I don't see them really trying to portray that side of it, because that's kind of where it really draws away from the horror too, even. So
yeah,
I don't think it'll be too much of an issue that it clashes with Hatchet and Chains in Orlando.
Yeah, because it's post-apocalyptic. It's 21. I don't know. It also just kept jumping. The numbers kept changing, and I was getting really confused.
The only thing that's that would be remotely similar is when the ghoul walks out wearing the cowboy outfit, and then there's the little sort of Western song behind him. I'm sure they'll do that a couple times in the house, but that's as much as you're gonna get. I think they're different enough that you're not even gonna feel the similarities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of leaning into the Fallout comments and what we've said about it here is Deej says, I feel like HHN has had more of a push into an immersive walkthrough of IP than a haunt. And I'd say there's definitely merit to that, especially in Hollywood, where it's almost only IPs. Obviously, in Orlando, originals really have a kind of a different focus. But yeah, I don't want to say it moves away from a haunt necessarily, but it's definitely really focused on being great immersive themed entertainment. And not just a haunt like it once was.
Yeah.
And Fallout is kind of, if it really is just season 1 of the TV series, probably pushing that further than we're used to.
Yeah, like if they said Fallout season 1 will be at FanFest nights, I'd be like, yeah, makes sense. Because like it's not really horror at all. Like they can make it scary. There's ways to make things that aren't scary at Halloween Horror Nights, but the show itself is not horror in any of the classifications.
And I think this is a good kind of bar for it. Dustin asks, having not seen Fallout, would you say Stranger Things has more horror? I'd say about 100 times more horror. Like it's not even close.
Stranger Things is a horror series to me. This is an action series. Post-apocalyptic action that's very gory. Like very cool. It looks really good. And a lot of the stuff you see is like, whew. I kept going, holy shit, like the whole time I was watching it. Because like their weapons do damage.
And I would say if the first season, if the TV series had just more of the characters involved, they could make it horror. They could just play with it, but there wasn't really any of that in the TV series yet. So yeah, easily Stranger Things has more horror.
I'm curious how they're gonna how the ghoul is gonna look. And how good it's gonna look.
I mean, I would hope he looks great.
Good.
Because this is just gonna have to be an extremely immersive experience for it to succeed. It's gonna have to be so beautiful that you're just like, oh shit, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they will get the scares unless they really kind of almost take an original turn on it.
Yeah, same. I don't know. They'd have to take stuff from the games or season 2 or you know. I think they technically if they're allowed to, they could, because this is a world that's living and breathing and you can go outside and see whatever, What we saw on the TV show doesn't mean that other monsters don't exist. There was even a hint at the end of season 1 that there was a big monster from the games that they didn't show yet. So they could just throw the monster in there, because it wouldn't it doesn't hurt the timeline or anything like that. Just you're in the world of Fallout. Maybe you get lost. You're not seeing any of the characters. You're just on your own path, and there's a bunch of monsters that you didn't see from the show because they just are there. They exist. Unlike something like FNAF, where you can't include characters from 2 because they literally don't exist yet. So if they are literally allowed to by the rights holders to get creative and use it to almost push season 2 by saying, look at the monsters, then that would be good. And I could see it working easily. But will they be allowed to? That's, we don't know. We don't know how that will work. That's the biggest
question, right? I hope they can. I really hope. Yeah. Jay, hoping Fallout falls out of the lineup. Listen, I guess you technically have some hope because stuff has fallen out this late. It's not super common that it happens this late, but it's happened. But you are running out of time for that hope. I will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, finally, we can move on to the next Murdy tweet. And this one's pretty fun, and I like it a lot. Basically, he was pointed out that in UBE, they had some TVs added for the Star Trek attraction that happened at FanFest nights. Murdy said, funny you should mention that. I just told them to keep them there. So these TVs are going to be in the indoor portion of the queue. So they've already had them on the outside. Now this is on the inside. In years past for HHN houses, they've projected screens on the walls. Now with these added TVs, you could really have some fun with not even just thinking for this year, but in general, if you do an original there and create full, almost pre-show elements going on, like they did for Horror Hotel. And you carry it all the way outside, all the way inside, have the TVs there. This is a great addition, in my opinion, for HHN.
Oh, yeah.
Propaganda.
Exactly. It's especially, because right now on the map, it's rumored to be Fallout, I think, on Horror and Nightmares map. There's so much they can do on those TVs. The whole show is made for, like you said, propaganda commercials, stuff like that. There's so much imagery they could use and getting you immersed in sort of the timeline that you're in with music and visuals very early on before you even step foot in the house.
They're gonna need a lot of tall, skinny people this year.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
You got Mr.
They really are.
Gog. You got Art the Clown.
Mr. Gog.
Mr. Gog. I'm just gonna give him different names every week.
I like Mr. Gog.
Mr.
That's
Gog.
good.
That's his
Good.
formal name.
Chemo, it is actually rumored to be Fallout. So, and Vault Boy Animations is probably exactly what we're gonna get. And Albert, this is kind of why I alluded to like maybe not necessarily for this year, but in future years, because there's probably gonna be a lot of promotions for Amazon series, Amazon Prime shopping. I don't know, whatever they want to get HHN to put up on those screens.
Lots of QR codes.
Mr. Gog, if you're nasty.
But never mind. I'm not gonna finish the sentence I was gonna say.
Goggy FB. The F stands for phenomenal.
Ooh, could I get a shirt that says Goggy AF?
Yeah, you
I
could.
think that might be better than I got that Gog in me.
I don't know. You already made a promise.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think it matters as long as I wear a Walton Goggins shirt.
I don't know. I got that Gog in me. It's pretty good.
It's kind of perfect.
Also,
Yeah.
I already told you my dilemma about my Fiend shirt.
Yes, I know. Well,
I'm really struggling right
we'll
now.
figure that out when we're not on the live. And the final Murdy tweet that we're going to talk about tonight, he finally pricked his thumbs. It has happened. So if you don't know, John Murdy, when an announcement is coming, typically the day before or day of an announcement, depending on what time zone he's in at that exact moment, will say, by the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. In this one, he specifically says, listen, I'm going to be busy, so this doesn't mean it's now. But while I'm not available, this is probably going to happen. So he's basically telling you an announcement's going to happen very shortly, lining up with the rumored June 5th.
I'd like to imagine he had no even clue about the FNAF thing that happened. He was just like on vacation, just like enjoy, and then he just looks on his phone. It's like, what the hell? That's not what I was referring to. No one told me about this.
A 99% chance that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think he was referring to that. I think he's referring to whatever was going to happen on Thursday, or the rumored Thursday, everything. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about it on the podcast, but he basically had the string of tweets that were not hints to HHN. Then I had a tweet that was a hint to HHN, nothing after that, and then made this tweet. And it makes me think that the timing was so specific. Could mean nothing, could just be me, just trading theories because I'm bored. But it makes me feel like whatever that GIF is referring to is also whatever this is going to be, whatever the pricking of the thumbs is going to be, because the timing was really coincidental. It felt like it was all kind of planned, because he doesn't do something like that big unless there's like a reason, because like that was sort of like a fun game until he gave like an actual pretty, I think, big hint to whatever's coming. So to me, that read is if we're right in the cowboy was referring to Fallout, that he's saying, hey, might be our first announcement. But
yeah, he typically doesn't tease stuff until shortly before you're going to know it's true.
Yeah.
If that is actually Fallout, I'd be shocked if it's not the first announcement. Again, if that's actually what he meant, we could be wrong. We could be fully off base and it's not Fallout.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but
yeah.
I would say that whatever he means that gift to be is what the first announcement is going to be. Yeah. So, good point, Jonathan.
Thank you.
And that's all we got for Murdy this week. See you later, John. I guess for a while, because you're going to be out of town for like a couple weeks or something. Not tweeting too much. So,
I said nothing negative about him either.
Well, let's not ruin that. Let's move on. Where actually we have some pretty big rumors about HHN. This is going to be specifically about Orlando, and then we're going to tie in a little bit about Five Nights at Freddy's as well. And I will say these are all going to be based off Legacy, but a lot of what we're going to talk about isn't just from Legacy. It's going to be kind of throughout the community becoming a very big thing. Just for consistency, we're going to stick to one insider here. So let's hop over here first. to some more FNAF talk, and we've kind of already talked this, how Legacy, kind of like a lot of people, believes that this was inadvertently brought up during that Blumhouse event, that Jason Blum brought that on screen, and kind of forced Universal's hand, and they had to come up with something. And that's why it just says details to come. And then he also adds on, there's still the scheduled announcement prepared for Thursday. And I noticed people kind of took this two ways, which there is still a scheduled announcement prepared for Thursday, meaning whatever it was meant to be, it's going to be. And also, well, that means they're announcing FNAF on Thursday. We've kind of talked about how, like, we don't think whatever is scheduled is what's going to happen Thursday. They can't change it last minute. We assume it's an IP, right? If it's an original, they can do that. But your first announcement's an IP. So,
Oh yeah,
with single night tickets, they're not going to do an original with that.
no.
Mm-hmm. Arkham says it's between FNAF, Terrifier, and Fallout for first announcement, and Brianna has her money on Terrifier. And I think Terrifier is kind of like leading the race of what people expect it to be, and I understand why. Like, that's a big, like, if you're not in the loop, that's like a shocking one to finally come to the event in kind of the deepest, I guess, outside of Jason, within the horror community, that will, like, really get attention.
Yeah, and I even talked about, like, if you want people to remember Halloween Horror Nights exists, Terrifier is the one that everyone's going to comment on, whether they don't like it or not, or they do like it. It's going to probably get the most eyes, just because of the controversial nature of the IP. However, FNAF kind of already did that. FNAF woke everybody up and said, look at this, it's Halloween Horror Nights time. So they technically don't need it now. I don't think they need something as big as Terrifier right now, because everyone's paying attention, because FNAF opened everybody's eyes and made them look towards Halloween Horror Nights. So before, if this didn't happen, I'd say Terrifier would be the best bet. But now I almost think waiting on a little bit would be smarter, because it's of the weird FNAF thing that happened that was just, weird.
Mm-hmm. It really feels like it could either be the big marketing push when they release multi-night tickets, or that, like, usually when they do a final IP announcement, it's kind of like a surprise. We also have this. Feels like it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I could see it being last almost to, like, really go out with a bang to start the season. You know what I mean?
And again, kind of the surprising those people who just don't stay in touch with Horror Nights year round, like, Terrifier's fucking coming. And Albert, you're right. It will sell tickets to horror fans.
Yep.
100%.
Absolutely.
But we'll see. We'll see where it lands. I could see, again, like, there's 3 great landing spots for Terrifier, for where they can put it in the announcement season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I could also see, because this is the first time they're working with Amazon. So, like, that could just be like, well, this is just how it is, Amazon. We did FNAF, and now here's yours. Aren't you so happy to be at this event for the first time?
Also, something to think about is they have to work out different deals with each of these IP rights holders. And, like, some of those are going to be like, listen, we expect an announcement, like, being your headliner announcement. And, so it could be something more random, like Fallout, like, I don't think, I mean, I guess I don't want to say no one would expect it, because 8-Bit Slasher says he saw that Legacy hinted it won't be Terrifier. Guesses it's Fallout. So
there was a poll on the Reddit server, the Reddit Discord server, that said, what do you think the first announcement is going to be? And I think we made a poll too. And I think on both, Legacy voted Fallout. So that seems to be where he's heading. And to be honest, with the Murdy tweet that we just talked about, and the gaming convention that's happening, like, I think that Sunday or whatever, I think I'm kind of on board with that too. Because it's the one that I would not have guessed, which means it's probably the one that's going to be first, because I'm always wrong with that type of stuff.
And again, regardless of what you think of Legacy's recent credibility, one thing he's historically always just had some additional knowledge of is the announcements and their schedules. So when Legacy says it's going to get announced, take that as not gospel, but expect it.
Yeah.
Robbie says, I'm expecting Terrifier will be last and FNAF will be early. That way parents will buy tickets for their kids for FNAF when Terrifier isn't announced yet. Yeah, I do wonder if they take that into consideration as well, right? Like, and I think not even just for kids, but we've heard a lot of people say, I'm not going to walk through a Terrifier house. I'm
Yep.
not going to do it. Period. The end.
Yeah, this is like Bugs all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving that, but like, okay. I kind of agree. That was Robbie who said that, right? I kind of agree with that, but I almost think flip it so Universal doesn't have to deal with angry parents. So they're like, well, we told you FNAF is coming, but Terrifier is coming before we announce the house for FNAF. To I don't know, not ward them off, but like you can't get mad at us. You knew he was coming. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be wild. You go on the website, it has a picture of Art the Clown right next to Freddy Fazbear. What a wild time we're living in.
I don't see that happening.
As we've previously discussed, the house shirt could be lacking a few things this year potentially.
I think
it could be very interesting.
we had a good streak of the house shirt having all the houses on it. Like 3 years?
2.
So
all
right.
The weekend wasn't on. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. 2 years. Good job, HHN.
We'll take it. So let's move on to the next rumor here. I guess it's kind of the same one, just clarifying. Do you think it has affected what could possibly be announced this week? Legacy says no. If Universal had said more, it could have, but they can point to Jason Blum and play victim if they stay quiet.
Like Voorhees? What did he do?
It's like I looked at it first. I was like, Jason. Oh wait, yeah, that guy, Blum. Yeah,
Jason Voorhees did it.
He did it. Guy.
I forget that I don't even pay a mind to Jason Blum. Like, sorry, I just said Jason is quiet. He hasn't talked in 12 movies.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
On to the next. So this one is going to bring up a lot of the big rumors we really want to spend a little bit of time talking about tonight. So first of all, unfortunately, and again, this isn't just Legacy. We're quoting Legacy here, but this is coming from throughout the community at this point. A huge rumor that Frequent Fear passes will not have an express add-on this year. This is in Orlando. All of this, by the way. And that the Stay and Scream will be sort of still in existence, but very, very different than what we're used to. So let's dig a little deeper into these. Legacy says the only rumor I've heard is no Frequent Fear pass with Express. Has heard that from multiple people, but has not directly heard that Rush of Fear won't have an Express option. So that's very intriguing if they do actually split that. And Rush of Fear does get an Express add-on, and Frequent Fear does not. He adds on, I suspect the rumor is starting to spin out to eliminating other things like Stay and Scream. There's no specific reason for me to believe it's to that extent yet. So some potential good news on the Stay and Scream side. But let's talk about these expresses for multi-night tickets. Obviously, we are all people who would prefer to buy Frequent Fear passes with Express. That's our plan, and we're hoping that's still going to happen. So how did this news hit you when you saw this rumor?
Terribly. This is like I should have been bad. Oh no, but no, this is such a silly decision, and I get it kind of money wise, even though I don't even know if that helps them that much, but. The amount of people, I really think a big reason everyone thought last year was off. Yes, there was problems about the theme. There was problems about some of the houses that we had. Scare zones were lacking in comparison in thematic things. But I think the biggest thing that no one points to was that Some people got Express, some people didn't because of the way they sold it. Friend groups were split up. People who did Express for years weren't able to get it, this, and that. And I think it just made everything so weird that no matter what the content of the event was, even if it was an amazing, like a fantastic 10 out of 10 event, everyone would have been like, man, something's off this year. Because the whole point of going to HHN is hang out with your friends and doing it, in the ways you usually do HHN, and everything changed last year. If they actually take away the Express option, everything changes. Not for people who never got Express, they're fine in that regard, except the standby lines would be longer.
I was like, it does change.
It does change for
It
them
hurts
too.
them. Yeah.
Not in the big, not like in a super big way, but they feel it. But especially for the people who get Express, like we all do. We were all aiming to get Express this year.
I was like, do we all, Jonathan?
No, I'll
get there in a minute when you're done.
No, yeah. If it's taken away, just a lot of the ways people do HHN, like we do, people who only go for a couple hours after work, it changes how they spend time at the event. And not everyone wants to wait in those long lines. Not everyone could go from stay and scream to close to hit all the houses. Like, it's just not possible. And why would you go for a couple hours in the day if you know it's going to be slammed and you won't be able to do anything because you have no Express? Why would you even go take the drive over and buy food and alcohol and stuff like that? I think this would, no matter how good the content of the year is, because everything's pointing to being a pretty good year. The houses and everything sound great. The scare, everything kind of sounds nice, and I like the theme that I think we're getting based on the merch. But if there's no Express, I think everyone will leave this year going, man, something was off about this year again. Maybe it's just me, and I think this would be the reason why something was off. And that's just sort of my feelings on it.
Yeah. I've said it a million times since last year. I did not get Express last year because I was one of the people it affected. I went to buy it and it was not available. Which, it is a luxury, but it's a luxury I like to have as a local who has a normal 7:45 to 4:00 job. It just works better that I go after work for a couple hours and leave. I have to be responsible.
Become accustomed to,
right,
on their own doing.
Correct. And no, maybe that is my bad for getting accustomed to that, but also they're bad for making that an expectation for years. This has been since I moved here. So this, even before I started podcasting and stuff like that, this is just what I wanted to spend my money on. I save for it every year. And now my husband also likes to do it. But last year I didn't get to hang out with my friends. I never hung out with Duff or Jonathan. I saw them in passing and that was it. And it sucked. It affected me. It affected I never got to see my friends. I didn't have that fun at the event like I normally do because I would get into a queue and it would just not fucking move. And the queues were so full that sometimes, actually most nights, Ghostbusters and Insidious, the queues would shut down because they didn't have any more fucking space for people. So we couldn't even get in line for the houses we wanted to do sometimes because a lot of us were in standby. We were all just kind of dealing with it. And then on top of it, they did it to sell more Single Night Express. And I don't think they sold out a single night last year of Single Night Express. Maybe one or two. But that was it. And whereas before, they sold out multiple times. If Halloween was on a weekend, it would be sold out. Opening weekend, sold out Single Night Express. It did not happen last year. So it did not benefit them in the way that they thought it would. I don't see how this would either in a year where we're losing Rocket. So we're probably not going to enter the soundstage houses the way we normally do. So how are you going to deal with this when you have less queue space because the construction trailers are back there where the HHN queues would go for the disassembly of Rocket? There's nothing we can do. It's happening in August. So I don't understand what they're going to do. Obviously, they have some big plan. This is just a rumor. But that's just kind of where my brain goes. It goes into logistics and ops and how do we do it? And what happens? And, maybe if it's not an option, Premium Scream is going to be the way I go. And I would just do Rush of Fear because October is not going to be fucking fun if there's no Express multi-night option for people.
Yep. I don't have too much to add on. You guys kind of hit most of the points there. The only thing I will say is we kind of assumed that the decision to limit them last year was probably based off financials because they're a corporation. That's what they do. If they're making a move that big, it's based off making more money. It was pretty clear they did not sell more Single Night Express. And also on the other end, people were like, well, if anything, maybe it'll help like guest satisfaction. I don't think I've ever seen more complaints about Standby than I saw last year. Like, I think back to some years like 2018, 2019, but that was the event as a whole. Express was bad. Standby was bad. It was all like just really busy. Last year, everyone at Express had a phenomenal time because they all waited like, or didn't wait, to be honest. Like half the time, every Express was just a walk-on. But Standby was like, this is the fucking worst year ever. So I don't think it necessarily made them more money. Obviously, I don't have access to their financials. I don't know that that's true, but based off what we saw, I'd be hard pressed to believe that they sold enough extra Single Night Express to make up for who knows fucking how many additional multi-night express they didn't sell. And then also guest satisfaction was not high last year, as far as what we saw on social media and the waits and Standby and just overall, right? Like the year as a whole was just off, and kind of going back to like it split a lot of friend groups up the way that was handled. So I don't know how fully eliminating this is going to help outside of not splitting friend groups up. I guess it would fix that part.
Would.
Not it.
Yeah.
Except for
the last minute, like out of town people who didn't get Express, and they'll get that.
Yeah.
And we'll survive. But again, it's a luxury we all choose to spend on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I was thinking like it could still split friend groups up in the terms of like just timing. You go to HHN less often, you know, because like if you don't go in October, Jess, that's that's a whole month, you know,
spending less money on the bars, on the food, on the merch.
Mm-hmm. So it still inadvertently causes problems, even if everyone's on the same base. So that, that's another problem too.
And that's going into Scott's point. We're basically saying it's going to kill the locals that pop in. And most importantly, they spend money on food and alcohol and merchandise. And when you have Express, you have more time to do that stuff than you would if you're having to run from standby to standby. I just, again, Hannah as well, I don't understand how no Express options could possibly be beneficial. I don't know.
Hike the price up. Like if you really want to, hike the price up. It's a luxury people are already paying for. You're gonna anyways. Mm-hmm. This is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. DC Throws says this is not the year to make these type of changes with the types of IPs that are coming and no Rip Ride Rocket, which I know people don't probably think about it too much as a huge HHN factor, but that thing held like an hour plus wait, like all night long. It is a huge people eater at HHN. For whatever reason, Rip Ride Rocket is like the HHN attraction that people did.
Big coaster.
It is huge people eater. So losing that is going to hurt the queues and the waits a lot more than I think some people realize.
Yeah. I think this changed because just based on what the comments have been saying, it reminded me of this point. I think this really hurts the HHN fandom, where I think a lot of people are just going to leave it because a lot of people do it for like locals specifically, do it for the ease of it. How easy it is to go to the event and do it this way and hang out with friends and everything like that. If that is taken away, I think the fandom shrinks like kind of tremendously to a point that will be felt if this does happen.
Yeah, it's less accessible to locals then, which is that going to really affect Universal? Because it's a international haunt event that people come. We're in the theme park capital of the world. They're not going to give a fuck, but they will feel it in their pockets slightly because they're not going to have a lot of people buying the frequent fears than if they're used to one thing. So
less people like us making podcasts for it. Less people like us making YouTube videos for it, reminding people that HHN exists in the times that HHN doesn't post, less notice about they enjoy it when there's rumors that pop up and everyone starts thinking about HHN and stuff like that. And everyone makes content for it, and TikToks for it. they enjoy that. It's just free marketing for them. The less people that do that, because it's just what's going to happen. The market will be less for it because the people who pay attention to this stuff, 90, like a lot of people do come from out of state and come for 1 or 2 days, but I'd say a good chunk are people like us who live here and go every, as many times as we can. And they, so it would be felt in content creation as well. Just in so many factors.
Yeah, not saying we're going to go anywhere, obviously.
No.
Show my love of this event, doing whatever they decide. But DC Thrill says, if this is the case, Premium Scream Night will sell out, and that is absolutely the truth. And maybe that is kind of their line of thinking.
Yeah.
Because last year, while people loved it, it didn't really perform well on ticket sales. So maybe they're like, well, let's sell this bitch out and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Someone could have put out a fake rumor too, like someone like tell everyone that Frequent Fear Express is gonna go away. So when we announce Premium Scream Night, everyone will buy those tickets, and then we just say, "Oh, Express was here the whole time, guys. The rumor was wrong. Sorry," and just trick people into buying a bunch of Premium Scream Night that they might have not if they knew Frequent Fear with Express would be an option.
I do think it'd be interesting if they only sold Express on the highest and the lowest tier of multi-night. So, like, if you want it, you got to pay for the big luxury or just September.
Yeah, that'd be a way to do it, I guess. Like,
I think that would be a way to phase it out, even maybe. Like, start with that and be like, don't get too attached, because Frequent Fear and Frequent Fear Plus are their 2 biggest sellers.
Yeah, it's true. But if they said Ultimate was the only way you could get Express, many people would cave and do that.
I will buy it the morning it drops.
Yeah.
And I'll be there every fucking day.
Yeah.
Because I missed out last year.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to bring out Zombie Chris here, who has a point that we're just going to have to accept either way.
Yep.
Regardless of whatever happens, it's beyond our control. We're going to get whatever pass we can that benefits us the most. It's not like we're going to boycott the event at all.
That was me last year.
We're frustrated, obviously, but we're not like we're going to boycott if this happens.
I fully went last year, and I complained because I was only able to do 1 or 2 houses every night, and that's the reality sometimes. And that's why I pay for the luxury if it's available.
Let me see. I'm trying to scroll through before we get way too deep into this conversation.
I think we're already there.
Yeah, I think we've already hit that point. And one last one. Robbie says they might make more money this year, but it'll hurt guest satisfaction, which will stop people from going future years. Also, some people wait for the year to start and might not go if there's complaints.
Yeah.
Also true.
Also, right before an anniversary year. I mean, it's not a 10, like a multiple of 10 anniversary year, but still, they've made it so every 5 years is an anniversary lately. So it just, I don't know. I really feel like this might be a rumor that just got legs out of nowhere and started sprinting. And now we're all just panicking.
I mean, the 3 of us can definitely hope so. That's for sure.
Really listen, I'm happy I'm happy this is even spreading throughout the community right now, and there is visible reaction to it. Because let's say it is like an idea on the board, that they have a list of ideas of what they're gonna do. Multi-night tickets are not going to be sold for a while. Like we got a bit before that happens.
Probably
so maybe even someone's like, hey, just push this out and see what the reaction is. Because that sometimes happens. Sometimes companies like, listen, let this spread and let's see what happens. And they could be seen and go, okay, nope, sorry, idea is gone. So if that's what this is, I'm happy we're reacting to it the way we are, because maybe, and everyone is on social media and whatever. So maybe they say, all right, it was an idea, maybe not a great idea. Let's hold off and just do it the way we've always done it. Yeah. So it's why we have these conversations, and why I think it's important to have these conversations, even though they're a little, they're not as happy as talking about, Freddy Fazbear is coming and, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the Stand Scream thing though?
Yep, that's what I was going to get into. HHN Scott says, we have not said much about this Stay and Scream rumor. Well,
We're not worried about that.
it is time. It is time. So yeah, we brought it up earlier, but there's a rumor that Stay and Scream technically won't exist, but will just kind of be a different version of what it was. Legacy kind of clarifying that basically it's going to be more of a wristband system. Think if you've done like Mickey's Not So Scary Party at Magic Kingdom, where it's kind of like you get in a little bit early, you get a wristband, and then when they start to get day guests out of the park, you basically just have checkpoints where you show your wristband and show that you are part of this event. Legacy thinks that restaurants would likely remain open, but not serve those without a wristband once that official time starts. I'd assume maybe a little bit later than they typically would. So a little bit later than a 5 o'clock closing, maybe like 5:30. But I hope not. I hope they still plan on getting people out at 5, because then they could still start opening houses as early as 5:15, 5:30, which is a huge perk of Stay and Scream. This isn't the worst thing possible, right? Like, because you still have access to the park early, and you can hang out and access the houses early. It'll just be a lot different than it was. As long as everything remains open, I'm just more worried about like how that looks operationally, and how they block off like the scare zones they need to set up and stuff like that.
Yeah, like do they still set up the house queues like they did in the past for Stay and Scream?
I don't
Because if
I
they
don't know.
people will make a line. Like it doesn't matter like if they have a line or not. I remember in Hollywood my first year, the strategy in that year was like you have to do the houses on the bottom and then go up to the Harry Potter, and once they open that you go to the back houses. And all the ops people were like, nobody can stand here, you all have to leave, you're not allowed to stand here. But no one listened, because you're going to open the gate in 2 minutes and then everyone's going to be running to those houses. So no one listened, and everyone just stood, and a big humongous crowd formed. The gates opened and it pushed, and people got hurt, and people got like, because there wasn't an official line or anything. So it just was catastrophe. And that will happen, because you can't tell a guest you can't wait here when they're like, I'm going to, because that's Five Nights at Freddy's and I know it opens at this time, so I'm going to stand right here until it opens. And so that would just cause a lot of problems. I don't think ops would successfully be able to get people out of there, if like in crowding areas that they shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. And then Hydra says that's how it works at Hollywood. It's so much easier. And I don't know. I think we disagree on that one. I think the Orlando Stay and Scream, well, operationally might be a bit tougher to set up and control during. I think it works a lot smoother than it does in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think we're thinking about this in the lens that the house entrances are going to be in the same spot they always are in. And if the construction affects it that much, there might not be any house entrances over there in New York.
It's true.
Rip Ride Rocket construction for everyone who didn't catch on.
So I hear you, and I would agree with you in a year where we don't have major construction going on.
Mm-hmm. Which also point out, we haven't brought up today, official closing August 17th, I believe. So before HHN starts, Rip Ride Rocket will be closed, and they will likely start demolition, staging, something along those lines that will affect HHN queues.
Yeah. So whatever that means for the event, it might look different ops wise too. It will look different, I assume. So like this also might just help that. Because if the whole park's open and you have to show a wristband to get into a restaurant, get served at a bar, enter a house queue, who's to say that they can't have the queues open at 5:30? But maybe not open the house until 6:15, 6:30, whatever. So there still is Stay and Scream houses, but you have to wait in that queue. You can't just like walk around New York. It's the same thing as standing in the New York lines, in my opinion, at least.
You know how many people are going to get into HHN for free if they did this? Like no one catch, like there's so many people who don't catch the wristbands, because there's, especially like in a huge horde that HHN would inevitably cause. Not everyone's going to, like, there's going to be people that get missed. You know, with the ticket scanning, it's impossible to get missed because you have to send the scan your ticket, then you're allowed in. Wristbands, there's only so much team members can do when there's a whole group of people. There's going to be people with that wristbands that hold their arms up or something that don't have them and just get in, and they're in the event now.
Also, you're having physical wristbands that can be distributed when they're not supposed to be.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they would have to do the not so scary, like, different color every night and not repeat the colors for like 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah. I mean more like purposely being handed
Yeah.
out by people.
Yeah.
Night of. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds again, it's not the worst thing. It'll be very
No.
different for us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as long as we can still have that early access, I think that's an important factor, especially when people, I assume they'll still have Scream early tickets. You know, a lot of people like to spend that extra money to get in early because it just helps a lot with HHN.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And listen, if this helps like the claustrophobia, because like it can get like tight in those areas, it can get really tight. And I do, there is a benefit to saying you don't have to just stand here, you know, and sit in the sun. And everywhere in Louise is already packed, and you can't sit anywhere, and there's no shade and no well, you know. There is a benefit to say you can kind of just go anywhere in the park and find shade and sit there. Because not everyone does stay and Scream for houses, you know. Some people just like to chill, and then that event opens and they do stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a benefit where everyone will be able to find shade and be comfortable. And when it rains, they're not in panic mode, because where do you go? You know, you got to hope you got a seat in Finnegan's, you know, and Louis. And if you don't, oh well, you're kind of just you're trying to find covers in the little areas that you have.
Mm-hmm. And to show you how important Stay and Scream is to some people, Deej, who said comes from out of town for I think 2 weeks, you said earlier, literally has an annual pass just to do for Stay and Scream. Like, it is a huge factor of how people plan and attack HHN. So as long as they have it in some way, that's fine. As long as they aren't getting rid of it, it's okay. We can all live.
There's no logistical way I think they can get rid of Stay and Scream completely.
Mike Daniels also has an annual pass just for Stay and Scream.
Yeah,
there you go.
That and the parking, like, alone, pay some
for sure. And I guess here's the thing: Zombie Chris, do they change corrals? Because they could still corral us. It could be the same, worse, better. I guess it really depends how they set this up, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously they won't corral everybody, but if you want to wait for a queue, you might still just be stuck in a corral.
Yep, that's true. That I hated that. That was 32 for me. 32 Stay and Scream. I was stuck there. Couldn't hold up an umbrella because it was lightning all the. You know, it was just.
Oh, opening night, right?
Yep, awful. Yeah. And then I went straight into Stranger Things.
But that's going to be it for the rumors. We don't want to harp on these too much, especially because it sounds like we're whining. I guess not for Stay and Scream. We're pretty level-headed about that part, I guess.
We're just discussing all aspects of it.
Just discussing. So we are going to take a few more comments before we head out here. We're already quite a bit over 2 hours. Let's see. I did have a few starred ones that just kind of didn't fit earlier. I want to get to. So earlier, Colton asks, best guess on when zone construction starts. If you're talking Orlando, probably see lighting rigs start to go up like soon, like within a couple weeks, I'd say for sure.
Next 2
actual like scare zone construction, probably more like a month plus at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In Hollywood, even later.
Yeah. It's normally big. You used to call it really well, Duff. I don't know what it was. You would be like, oh, first lighting rig up here.
I would say it's coming within like the next, if I had to predict within the next week and a half, we will have lighting rigs. Yeah. And by the first week of July, like real scare zone construction popping up.
I'm going to give you an exact date for real scare zone construction just because I'm thinking of like July 4th and everything. Normally we get some construction on like a Sunday is the first day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Sunday the 6th of July, maybe.
Well, we see it on Monday.
Okay, so Monday the 7th.
Yeah.
I come back from Beyonce that day and I'm off from work, so maybe I'll just go to Universal.
Or Tuesday.
Just to walk around.
We normally see it Tuesdays.
Oh yeah, anyway. They're off Sunday, Mondays. Yeah, okay. So Tuesday the 8th, whatever. I keep pushing it back today. Yeah. Whatever after the 4th of July is, that Tuesday, Monday.
Mm-hmm. Dustin asks, has there ever been a house that's 18 plus only? Would there ever be? No. No, there's not, and I don't think there ever will. In fact, it's probably moving further and further away from that as time goes on.
Yeah.
Busch Gardens tried to do that a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely
That
haunts who
slaughterhouse
attempt it.
one. It was weaker than an HHN house. Insidious was more 18 plus than that was.
This is a good point, Zombie Chris. San Francisco already has construction. I mean, yeah. The question
Yeah.
is it scare zone construction or is it some other thing construction?
Time will
I don't
tell.
know. We'll see. We'll see. And then Dustin also has another one here. Having been to both events at both coasts, does one handle crowds capacity queues better than the other?
I don't
Honestly,
have a fair judgment.
I would
Still
say
do.
they both struggle to just calm the herd, and they both have their pros and cons about how they handle capacity and how it flows through the park. And it's a difficulty for both. I don't necessarily think one does it better than the other. I would give the edge to Orlando if I had to use like Stay and Scream as like the tipping point, because I
Yeah.
like how they handle it better in Orlando than Hollywood.
Yeah. I don't have a fair judge because I've only done RIP in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you have a fair judge of how the crowds and capacity look.
Yeah, but not I don't think that I have a fair. I mean, I could tell you like over by Transformers is impossible to keep up with your tour guide. That's about all I could tell you. But other than that, it's just crowded, but I'm following a tour guide there. I don't think that that's a fair judgment for me.
That's fair. That's fair. C-Town points out San Fran is for Jaws stuff, right? Well, not the big trusses, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They're just they were put up for Grad Bash, Grad Venture, and have just kind of stayed up. So it's a good chance they're just being left up for HHN at this point.
Yeah, they put like a little couple of decorations on them to make it
Mhm.
feel like it's for the area, but it doesn't seem like it's for the area.
No. And then the final thing. Albert actually did this like 10 minutes ago, but okay, guys, I'm off to the haunt line. See you next week, which all of you should do because we are wrapping up here. And our friends over at the haunt line are having a live stream that has already started at this point, just about 10 minutes ago. So go over to the haunt line on YouTube. Keep talking HHN. Keep talking haunts. If you liked this live stream, please give it a like because it helps us a lot. Subscribe. We're going to be back next Tuesday. We have podcasts dropping every Monday. And we really appreciate all of you for being here. It's our favorite part of the week. And we will continue to show up and have a great time with you guys once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a Walton Goggins thumbs up.
Mr. Gog, if you ask.
All right. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you in about a week.
Bye.